The Venom symbiote has been around the block. There have been multiple characters in the Marvel Universe from Earth 616 to a bunch of alternate universes in which Venom has bonded with more than just his main man Eddie Brock. Now some of them are unusual pairings, others are pretty comical, and others wickedly cool. So today we're returning to our list of the top 10 characters that wore the Venom symbiote, coming at you with a part 2. Number 10. Carol Danvers. Once upon a time, Carol Danvers, aka Miss Marvel, at the time, teamed up with Spider-Man to take on Mac Gargan's Venom. Mac, who we talked about on the part 1 of our list, was a particularly nasty Venom, and pretty violent and unhinged. So our two heroes worked together in a story penned by Brian Reed that depicted Carol easily stripping Gargan of Venom, although that didn't really work out as neatly as planned. The symbiote would then jump on Carol and make her his host, resulting in a Venom that had flames bursting out from its head and chest, and could also fly. Ugh. No thanks. Spider-Man was able to resolve the issue quickly by pushing her into some power lines and knocking the symbiote off of her, which then caused it to go back to Mac to finish the fight. Perhaps the best part of this bonding though is when Venom initially bonded with Carol, and then ran around and shouted, "Miss Marvel is now my favorite superhero," which is like kind of adorable and endearing, isn't it? Oh, Venom. And at number 9, Human Torch. On Earth 20051, also known as the Marvel Adventures universe, the Venom symbiote decided to bond with Johnny Storm, aka the Human Torch. And considering Storm's powers, well, you can imagine how long that lasted for. The Marvel Adventures universe covered a storyline in which Spider-Man gets the black sentient alien costume, and after the Fantastic Four remove it from his body, like they do in the original run with Spider-Man before it was known as the Venom symbiote, it decides to hop onto the Human Torch. When it bonds with Johnny, he says, "Wow, it can really read my surface thoughts. Let's see if it looks as cool after I flame on." The second he bursts into flames, the Venom symbiote immediately jumps ship. Now, in case you didn't know, the symbiotes have two primary weaknesses: sonic sound waves and fire. So, yeah, Venom must have really enjoyed that little interaction. And at number 8, Red Hulk. In Venom Volume 2 Issue 13, in a story arc called Circle of Four, Thaddeus Ross bonds with Venom, and it's a little terrifying. So for context, the story involved a demonic invasion of Earth by Blackheart, Mephisto's son, in an attempt to bring hell on Earth. It kinda worked, with Las Vegas getting much hotter than it usually does, which is saying a lot. Flash Thompson, who was Venom's host at the time, let Venom bond with Ross's Red Hulk, who proceeded to beat the pulp out of Blackheart, and save the day, putting everything back in order, and by the end of it, Venom actually jumped back to Thompson, proving to Captain America, who was overseeing all this, that Flash could control the symbiote after all. And at number 7, KRON Stone of Earth TRN 590. KRON Stone is a character from Earth 928, who is a villain and a total sadist, and the half-brother of that Earth's Spider-Man, Miguel O'Hara. But on this Earth though, TRN 590, he appeared in Spider-Man 2099 Volume 3 Issue 10, back in 2016, and he bonded with the Venom symbiote and became a pretty horrific and futuristic version of the villain. He also became a member of the Sinister Six. Now initially, KRON was the dude who killed the Punisher's family in the year 2099, and was almost taken out entirely by Frank Castle, left to die in a sewer. This is where he encountered Venom, who had been chilling in the sewers for decades as a means of trying to evolve. He made KRON his host, and exhibited a few new abilities, like an acidic touch and a body that could become fully liquid. Eventually, KRON's Venom would fight against Miguel's Spider-Man. Miguel would win, and upon discovering it was his half-brother beneath the symbiote, he managed to separate the two, and confine Venom in his lab. Venom would later break out and then bond with Namor, who we talked about on our part 1 of this list. And at number 6, Rocket Raccoon. Speaking of the part 1 on our list, we talked a little bit about how Venom got cozy with the Guardians of the Galaxy in that video, particularly with Groot. So naturally on this list, we're returning to that odd story arc and taking a glimpse at the symbiote's bonding with another one of our favorite galactic heroes, Rocket Raccoon. And look at the rabies on him. Or maybe rabies. Completely unconfirmed whether or not that is actually rabies. But if you have to ask if something is rabies, it's probably rabies. Anywho, this occurred when Flash Thompson was Venom's host, and went up into space with the symbiote in order to help him recalibrate up on his homeworld of Clintar. The journey there clearly wasn't an easy one, and Venom escaped from containment, decided to hop onto Groot, and then after receiving a beating from Drax, jumped ship over to sweet little Rocket, everybody's favorite trash panda, and insisted that everyone get the hell off his ship. Rocket's tenure didn't last that long though, because Venom would then jump over to Drax instead when Drax tried to grab him from behind. Don't startle a trash panda. it'll never go well for you. And at number 5, Mercurio, the 4D Man. After heading home to Clintar with the Guardians, Venom rebonded with Flash Thompson and became Agent Venom, who was inducted into the Agents of the Cosmos for a brief amount of time, traveling around the galaxy to planets that they sensed were in trouble, being a hero and whatnot, disabling devices that destroyed planets' ecosystems. Now the dude behind these devices was Mercurio, a space pirate warlord, a character that was normally a Thor villain. Venom was captured by one of his minions, a panda named Picrollo, who he was blackmailing, and was then separated from Thompson. But it didn't turn out that well for the space pirate. Venom was actually tricking him in order to get information from him by bonding with him. After separating from him and returning to Thompson, he brutally beat down on Mercurio, to the point where Thompson had to stop him. Venom's initial instincts had become more increased since bonding with the space pirate made him excessively violent. And at number 4, Hawkeye. The 2015 Secret Wars story arc explores the Marvel Universe, Earth 616, combining with other various alternate universes, including one in which 2006's Civil War, the comic that the MCU film Captain America Civil War is loosely based off of, was never actually concluded. Now in this alternate universe, in Secret Wars Civil War issue 3, Mac Gargan, who was the Venom at the time in 616, was dead, and a mute Venom was now working alongside Captain America. Venom went on a covert mission with Peter Parker as part of his strike team to collect something for Beast Machine, and who he was bonded to was none other than Clint Barton. He makes a super brief appearance, being super stealth, and sneaking up behind King Oct, who was the corpse of Kingpin, who was controlled by Dr. Oct's tentacles. Yeah, that does not sound fun. Now rather than using his bow and arrows though, Clint created a Venom bow and flung Elektra's billy club at King Oct like an arrow. At the time he was a tad mysterious, but then was later revealed to be Hawkeye. And at number 3, the Symbioids of Earth TRN 517. This ungodly creation is a product of the Marvel Superhero Contest of Champions, specifically the 2015 one. Now for context, back in 1982 there was a storyline called the Contest of Champions in which the Grandmaster challenged death for the life of his fellow Elder, the Collector, who had been recently killed off, using superheroes from Earth to fight one another. But in the 2015 one, the story occurs in the aftermath of the 2015 Secret Wars, with the Collector and Grandmaster using the remnants of Doom's Battle World to set the stage for a new competition, calling it Battle Realm. Known as the Symbioids, these terrifying looking beasts are the combination of the Adaptoids of Battle Realm and the Venom Symbiote. The Adaptoids are the duplicates of the Super Adaptoid, a creation made by advanced idea mechanics from unstable molecules and a portion of a cosmic cube. These symbioids were used by the Collector as obstacles in the Contest of Champions. They have the abilities of the symbiotes and of the Adaptoids, which are capable of copying the powers, appearance, and equipment of any superpowered being in close proximity, and can only copy the powers of what it has witnessed. So, all in all, not a fun time for our heroes. And at number 2, Punisher. Gotta love a what if imprint. Last time on our part 1 list, we actually talked about 2 characters donning the Venom symbiote in a particular Marvel what if issue. Venom had managed to find his way to the Hulk, making Bruce Banner his host, and then later jumped ship onto the Asgardian god of thunder, Thor. But for this number, we're taking a look at a different what if title. What if Venom had possessed the Punisher? From 1992. Now it had a similar story as the Hulk's and Thor's. What if after Spider-Man had gotten rid of his sentient alien black costume, instead of bonding with Eddie Brock, it bonded with Frank Castle instead? Punisher Venom, after realizing that he could manipulate the symbiote webbing into bullets to fire at his enemies, goes on a bit of a rampage, and kills Microchip, Tombstone, and later Kingpin. He's eventually stopped by Spider-Man, Daredevil, and Moon Knight, with Spidey busting out a sonic blaster that he scored from the Fantastic Four. But when he shoots it at Punisher Venom, it's too late. Venom has fully bonded with Castle, but the blast is enough for Castle to regain control of his mind and confront Venom, eventually succeeding by threatening to kill them both if Venom didn't cooperate with him. Venom gets to partake in Frank's kills, and in exchange just behaves. Castle then tells Spidey that he's tamed the symbiote with the intention of using him as an instrument of vengeance. Hopefully that went well for him. And finally, at our number 1 spot, X-23. Life ain't too bad for Laura Kinney these days. After having a wildly successful cinematic debut in Logan back in 2017, and just recently finishing a run in her own comic that she was headlining in the form of all-new Wolverine in the all-new, all-different Marvel relaunch, she's got some pretty cool stuff going for her. She also bonded with Venom, which is pretty rad. Or at least for us readers. This happened in the Edge of Venomverse. Laura's Wolverine got a new detail added to her origin story. Now for those unfamiliar with the character, she's the clone of Wolverine, later becoming his adopted daughter. And after breaking out of the test facility where she was created and experimented on, she would later attend school at the X-Mansion and become a member of the X-Force. She basically has all of Daddy Dearest's abilities, except her entire skeleton was infused with adamantium before she managed to escape. Now in Edge of Venomverse issue 1, in an attempt to escape from her captors, she gets cornered and gassed, with the only way out being to smash her way through a glass containment cell. And guess who's inside that containment cell? Venom. Feeling her hate and rage bonds with her, and results in her kicking some major butt. She ends up escaping, living a fairly solitary life with Venom, who she manages to control quite well, until she encounters a gang of kids, and ends up sharing the symbiote with them. She's eventually pulled out of her reality and into the Venomverse reality to help fight the war. Alright, there we have it, friends. So which of these hosts that we've discussed so far are your favorites? Give us a shout in those comments below and let us know your thoughts. And if you haven't seen it yet, definitely check out part 1 of this list. We've also got a bunch of other great videos about Venom and all things Marvel on our channel, so head on over there and subscribe. Or just click on the nifty little playlist that's currently flashing on your screen. In the meantime though, thanks for watching everybody. I've been your host Kelly Pally, and I will catch you all in the next video.